This video is part of the Recreation Inspiration Open Challenge. There's no theme this month, so just be inspired and recreate. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it after the first project. First project is a home sign. We're going to use this like lilac chalk paint, some burnt umber acrylic paint, this home sign from Dollar Tree. And that metal flower is also from Dollar Tree. Now, the inspiration is this Pinterest creator. She made her own metal flower for her home sign. And then Cindy from Monarch Mom made a bunch of cutting boards, and she made a home sign. So you'll see that thumbnail again when I make an actual cutting board. I put it up to show you more inspiration for the home sign. So to get things going here, I'm going to tape off the edges of the frame because the orange just isn't doing it for me. So I'm just going to keep rubbing the burnt umber on the frame with a baby wipe, and I'm just going to keep going and going until I get it as dark as I want. So I just kept turning it and wiping, turning it and wiping, and I kind of like where it is here right now. Now I'm going to set that aside to dry while I work on the metal flower. I kind of like the yellow, but I didn't like that it was so shiny and fake. So I decided to use that pink lilac that I'm using here now. There's like 3 layers of, there's 3 layers. It's not super full layers, but basically the bottom layer I add a little bit of coral on the tips of the petals, and then the middle and top layer I just did the pink lilac, and I did a little bit on the back there as well too, just because they're going to be lifted up when it's glued down and you might be able to see the yellow. Now I'm going to do dots and dashes, and I'm going to do them on the H, the M, and the E. Dot, dash, dot, dash. When I get to where there's a corner or a curve, I'm going to try and do the line around it to form the shape of the letter. And otherwise, it's a dot, dash, dot, dash. And this is actually sped up 8 times the normal speed. So you can see that I was definitely taking my time. I just wanted to do something that made the sign look a little bit more crafty and homemade, because I am keeping the existing paper, the existing cover on the sign. Now, there was a lot of things I wanted to do with the middle portion of the flower, and none of them were working, so I ended up just painting it with this brown chalk paint. And then I use that same chalk paint to distress the flower. I used that Dollar Tree super glue as well as some hot glue to affix the flower to the sign. And off camera, I added a hanging rope, and you'll see that during the final reveal. Jumping in with a little bit more information about the playlist. It happens every month on the 8th. Our regular hosts are Amanda from 6 Kids and Glue Gun and Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack. And our guest host this month is C from CJ DIY. Their channel links as well as a link to the playlist will be in my description box below. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, for project number 2, we're making some fabric flowers. I have those small wood hoops there from Temu. There's the inspiration in the bottom left. I'll have that creator's info in my description box below. This is a 10-inch wood square. It came in a pack with all different sizes and shapes, and I think it's from Amazon, though it could be from Temu. I have a bunch of different kinds of fabric that I got in various places. And you'll see that larger shower ring hoop there. I end up not using it. So I'm just going to tear strips because we want to make a whole bunch of strips of fabric to attach to the hoops to make the flower. So I have that ribbon, that fabric ribbon that I tore in half. This is also some spare lace that I used on a project in the fall. And I might have gone a little bit overboard preparing the strips of fabric. I decided I wanted to add a little bit of burlap because it's sort of like the whole rustic farmhouse vibe it offers. So I just kind of created a pattern, you know, like burlap flower, stripe, heart, and then I just repeated it like 3 or 4 times until the hoop was completely full, and then I trimmed it. But I needed a break from tying knots, so I tapped out some burnt umber acrylic paint and I rubbed it into my wood pieces. So this is the palette. I was planning on having the wood square just sit in between the slats, but I kind of made a mistake while I was preparing the flowers, and I'll show you how I deal with it in a little bit. For now, I'm just going to keep rubbing that burnt umber into the wood and see how it brings out the grain. I'm not going to use that small wood round there, so don't pay attention to that. So I made a larger version of the first small one, and I did not like it. It just looked straggly, and it was blending into the other flower, and it was too big for the wood round. So I cried a little tear, and then I took apart the big one and I made a smaller one. And this time I didn't add the burlap. So that way I was able to make it like super full and it'll stand out a little bit. So there, I started with the ribbon there, filled it nice and full, and then I just trimmed it to size. So I just trimmed it so it was a little bit bigger than the small one. I used like a wood glue, hot glue combination to affix them to the wood square. We also glued down some skewers for the stem, button for the middle, and at the last minute I made a couple of burlap leaves. Now, if I was thinking ahead, I would have made those stems shorter to leave space for the wood square to go in between the slats, but I did not. So I ended up, I was planning on putting the blocks on there, but I wasn't planning on gluing the square, but I ended up having to glue the square because it wasn't sitting down all the way. But that's what it looks like. Last minute I chose to make a border of twine, and I will show you a good look during the final reveal. Okay, last project is this spring chicken cutting board. I have this chicken that I tore off another sign, and I'm going to use it here. So there's the inspiration. Cindy from Monarch Mom did a cutting board with a snowflake on it. I'm going to put a chicken on mine. I'll have her info in my description box below. So I had vinegar and salt. The dabbing on wasn't working, so I just poured some vinegar on, sprinkled it with salt, left it overnight. I covered it up and poured some more vinegar on it, and that's how it came out. And I think it even rusted a little bit more because I kind of forgot about it. But I was happy with that, so I set it aside and worked on the letters. The sort of like inspiration for this too is in my memory I can remember older people saying, "I'm no spring chicken anymore." So I thought, well, spring chicken, so let's have a little fun. I topped out some of that burnt umber acrylic paint to rub into the cutting board. I painted the letters in the word spring just white, Rust-Oleum Millennium White chalk paint. And in retrospect, I wonder if I should have distressed the cutting board with some white as well, because it is a little dark for the rusted chicken. But this is what the plan was, and this is what I did, so I'm going to leave it. I did the burnt umber on the front and back. Look at the difference. Like, it's so pale without the burnt umber. And even just the light coat of the burnt umber brings out all that green in the wood. So pretty. Sorry I'm making you watch all this. Almost done here. And to date, I have not purchased antique wax, Waverly Antique Wax. I have never bought a bottle of Waverly Antique Wax. So here I am using the burnt umber acrylic paint to distress the letters in the word spring. Now I set the rusty chicken where I wanted it, and then I sort of like taped it for a border, so when I put the glue on it, I know whereabouts to set it down. So I wanted to use E6000 here, but it was so clogged I couldn't get anything out of it. So I'm using the wood glue right there. Just put that right in the middle, and then I took some of this Dollar Tree super glue, did the edges, and then I came in with hot glue after that, and just in some of the empty spaces, like so. And then right quick, flipped it over, set it down, and put some of the weight on it. And then I'll tape it up to, you know, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, that's my doorbell. So yeah, I'm going to tape it up and use some wood glue to get the letters on there. Now I get it nice and tight there. That's just, you can't really put like a clip or anything on it, so I just taped it down to keep the contact until the glue set. Now for the letters, I'm just going to use some wood glue, and I'm just using the end of a skewer to put the tiniest little bit of wood glue on these letters because they are kind of small. So I didn't bother using any hot glue because it would have just put glue all over the place, and I wanted to keep it clean. I put a little piece of painter's tape on top there so I wouldn't put it up top because I'm going to do a string there, and better look at the final reveal. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a big thumbs up. See you soon.